CBS Sports coverage of the road. Florida, the Atlanta bracket. First round action is the 13th seed Iona from New.
Welcome to the first round of the NCAA tournament from the Greensboro Coliseum in Greensboro, North Carolina. The 9th seeded UNC Wilmington Seahawks against AC.
Played for Jimmy Valvano now in his 8th year as head coach. Had a marvelous professional career as well. You look at the lineups.
Danilo Pinnock leads George Washington in scoring. And TJ Carter leads Wilmington in points per game. Wilmington coach is 37-year-old Brad Brownell, his 4th year, a 2-time CAA Coach of the Year. And
a 4-beat today in the opening tap control to the Tigers. Tim Brando alongside Mike Jaminski and Stephen Bardo. Happy to have you with us. Right away they go to Glenn Big Baby Davis. And the rebound taken down by Ricky Soliver.
I'd like to play him man up. No double team coming in. That LSU was curious as to how Iona would guard him, and they're going to let Springer go man up, at least for now.
Real Watchman working in on Davis. Lost it. Davis with a quick outlet to Daryl Mitchell. Mitchell, the all-time leading three-point shooter.
Shot. High call with the miss. And here comes Beckenweiler.
And George Washington really likes to pressure you. Their basic goal is to play faster than you want to play.
Welcome back, everyone. 2 games underway at this hour. UNC Wilmington and George Washington are scoreless as they have just tipped in the Atlanta bracket. Also in the Atlanta bracket in Jacksonville, Iona and LSU are in the early moments of the first half. The LSU Tigers with a 2-point lead. Let's take you there live and join Tim Brando, Mike Jaminski, and Stephen Bardo.
LSU out of the Southeastern Conference. Iona, champions of the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference, out of New Rochelle, New York. An outstanding 13-4 matchup. And so far today, we've seen that those seeds with double digits around them have fared very well.
Yeah, they come in and they're ready to play. And typically these lower seeds are not major conference teams, and they're veteran ball clubs with a lot of senior leadership, so they're not going to be fazed by this opportunity in the NCAA tournament.
Alabama a winner today. Tennessee on a miracle shot by Chris Lofton out of the Southeastern Conference. A winner earlier this afternoon, and Soliver can't connect. Glenn Davis reels it in.
I was talking to John Brady about it. He said points a game, and I think they should be priority 1 and 2.
LSU 14-2 in conference play, their first outright championship. And then you see 13 games against tournament teams. They have a 7-6 record, which is significant. But this is the first outright championship team in the Southeastern Conference LSU has had since 1985. Davis raises the front iron. Darnell Lazar runs down the rebound.
A zone by Iona, and I think if they can force that shot consistently from Davis, it's going to be to their advantage.
Gonzaga and Xavier will be taking our audience to that game as soon as it tips at 7:20. John Brady, who's 0 for his last 2 in opening round games in the NCAA. Had a nice run in 2000 with that team that had Jabari Davis and Stromile Swift. As Burt at his best, soft left-hander. One of the unique aspects of this Iona team, their 3 guards are all lefties.
And that time, Big Baby's got to be a little bit quicker on the help coming off of the pick and roll. Burt just needs a little bit of daylight He makes him pay.
Well, that's exactly what Iona is going to do, Stephen. It's a smart thing to make him move his feet and help and screen rolls away from the basket.
Oh, look at that work by Mitchell on the defensive end. Almost took it away. Marvin McCullough motors and finds Springer.
And they're going to push tempo. Try to make Glenn Davis get up and down the floor and make him a non-factor defensively. That's the way you beat that size with LSU. Outrun it.
Quality start for the Gales. They lead it by 3.
I like the changing defenses so far by the Gales. They're in man-to-man now, have kind of gone between the zone and the man.
Little Jimmy Valvano action defensively, huh? The old coach from Iona that had the man known as McFilthy at one time. Jeff Ruland, there's Steve Burt's action off the ball. Watch him run this curl.
And this is tough, too, because coming right and shooting for a lefty, that's a tough curl to make. Normally, those guys feel more comfortable on the other side of the floor where he can swing into that strong hand.
He's a little bit different, though, Mike, when we talked to the coaches yesterday, saying that when he goes right, expect him to go into his jumper. When he's going left, he wants to get to the hole. So a little unorthodox there, and maybe accounts for why he puts up 25 a night.
You've probably read, and if you haven't, we'll remind you, along with his father, Steve Burt, senior and junior, all-time leading scorer, father and son in college basketball. Tasman Mitchell. This is a freshman that's sort of forgotten, Mike. I mean, he plays on a team that has the freshman of the year, Tyrus Thomas. Normally, if you average about 12 points and 6 boards as a freshman, you're up for freshman of the year honors in most places.
Player of the year as well, and Glenn Davis along the front line, but he's had 4 20-plus games post from Glenn Davis.
Real Waxman working it on Davis. He's a very serviceable low-post player, and much of their offense runs through him. That was a poor pass by McCullough, run down by Bird. Well, that was a sweet move, wasn't it? That pull-up jumper with the left hand kind of reminds you of Dick Barnett back in the day.
Well, you are dating yourself. Holy cow.
Well, I think of New York.
We've had somebody who had color game film.
I guess I could have said Gail Goodrich, right? One or the other. Sometimes a little bit of knowledge is a dangerous thing. Okay, I'm old, and I'm older than both of you. There it is. That's sweet. Not as herky-jerky as Barnett.
Since you haven't had an accident.
Plays at the fastest we have seen today. Omar Williams with the miss. Rice chases it out of bounds for George Washington. With some great hustle turned in by Law.
Boy, he went right over that table.
Well, it is the NCAA tournament where it's win or go home.
Greg, thank you very much. First round action from the Oakland bracket, third game of the day here in Salt Lake City. Number 3 seed Gonzaga taking on 14th seeded Xavier. I'll take a look at the bracket, and the winner here will take on the winner of the Indiana-San Diego State game, which will be coming up. Alabama has already advanced with their victory over Marquette. Let's take a look at the starting lineups. For Xavier, champions of the Atlantic 10 tournament, Burrell, Wolf in the backcourt with Duncan, Cage, and Dolman up front. Gonzaga, Altidore, Cespedes, Rivio, the guards. The electrifying Adam Morrison, National Player of the Year candidate, joined by J.P. Batista, also had a tremendous season, and Sean Mallon in the front court. Sean Miller, no stranger to the NCAA tournament as a player, as an assistant coach, but his first go-around as a head coach in his second year as the head man at Xavier. And Mark Few, talk about the success. Few has been to the tournament every year as the head coach in his 7th season at Gonzaga, an assistant from 1990 to 1999 for the Bulldogs. The officials: Ted Valentine, John Hampton, Steven Skiles. That's your crew for Gonzaga and Xavier. It is a 3 seed against a 14. Remember last year, Bucknell as a 14 seed knocked off Kansas in the first round, 64-63. It can be done. We're set. And the tip controlled by Gonzaga, 27-3 this season, the longest active winning streak in the nation, 18 in a row.
And obviously the focus will be on Adam Morrison most of the way here.
But Batista's dangerous. Jump hook. JP Batista averaged 19.3 points per game and 9.5 rebounds. First team all West Coast Conference this year. And a 2-0 lead for Gonzaga.
2-3 look right now to start things off by the Zags defensively.
Dolman spin. Can't get it to go initially. Second go doesn't work. Fight for it. Duncan on the inside. And a jump ball. Possession arrow to Xavier.
Dolman right underneath the basket twice and really hesitated just a touch, and that caused him some problems to get this game started. Mark Few, as you touched on, I am very, very successful. What is he, a little bit over 80% of his games so far?
Right now, the winningest active coach in Division I basketball. Should mention about Dolman, he's playing with 2 broken bones in his right hand. Drive along the baseline. Cage had it knocked free. Cage, a defensive specialist who has picked up his offense of late. And that main assignment today for Justin Cage will be the nation's leading scorer, Adam Morrison, at 28.4 points per game.
And that will be a fun matchup to watch, just to see whether he can body him up a little bit.
Here's Wolf. Kick out Burrell. Count it. That's a 3.
And Burrell is a guy who has really stepped up his game, especially as of late. He can really change the tempo of a game, and it's nice to see a guy come out who can do that, hit his first shot from the outside in rhythm.
And a 3-2 lead for Xavier, just over a minute gone by. Altidore Cespedes, no good. Xavier looking to push it with the freshman Johnny Wolf. Gives it up. And the 3 doesn't go for Burrell. Duncan underneath, touched him last. Triple threat, Burrell, Dolman, and Duncan, who has come on of late.
And you look at the numbers, obviously just shy of 3 of them with Duncan, who has been playing well, just under 10 points a game, but gives them a nice little offensive burst. And it distributes the offense also, which is more important.
They are playing without their senior forward, Brian Thornton, out with a season-ending ankle injury back in February.
Morrison long on that shot right there. Had a pretty good look going to his left, but hit the far side of the basket with that one.
Adam Morrison, all eyes on him, a gifted scorer, confident, plays with a swagger. Can absolutely light up a scoreboard.
Switch to a man-to-man defense quickly by the Zags.
Dolman, that's a 3. And it went over the backboard, out of bounds. Now for Morrison, the junior from Spokane, Washington. Part of Team USA, 23 players named to that team that will whittle down to 12 for the Olympics in 2008.
We got the double team on Batista down there.
Rivio, long triple.
Batista had to do everything he could to kind of dribble his way out of that strong double. It was almost a triple team down deep.
And Rivio could be an X factor for this Gonzaga team if they go on an extended run in the tournament. He's had an up and down junior year out of Vancouver, Washington. He's got range, Duncan, and a little too strong on the 3. Out of bounds, Xavier will hold on to it.
Well, when you think of it, your point is well taken. Rivio right there has pretty much an open look because he knows that if Batista gets it down low, you're going to see double teams. That means you're going to be open. And also the other side of the floor, you have Morrison, who's going to take someone away defensively. So you should have some good looks.
Gonzaga with a 5-3 lead. On a dump down, Cage, extra feed, foul called as Duncan went towards the rim, and he'll shoot a pair of free throws. It was Altidore Cespedes who was in the area. And Cespedes picks up his first foul. Josh Duncan, 87% free throw shooter out of Cincinnati, Ohio. Local guy who decided to stay home and attend Xavier. And hits the first. CBS Sports Line keeps you close to the action with live scoring and video highlights. Get up-to-the-minute scores and on-demand highlights for each first-round game at CBSSportsLine.com.
And at 6'9", Duncan may be their best outside shooter. Gets a bunch of good looks, and as you touched on, just under that 90%. Boy, that's nice to have a guy at the free throw line those kind of numbers, especially late in games.
Xavier, though, is thin. Not a lot of depth because of the injury to Thornton. They dismissed their point guard, Diedrich Finn, for violating team policy. Here's Morrison. Book it.
Well, the first one going to his left, he goes long with it. That one right there, more of an Adam Morrison stroke off the dribble. You see a little bit of bounce to get his excitement level up.
7-5 Gonzaga. Just over 3 minutes gone by in this first half. Gonzaga with a zone look on defense.
Yeah, a lot of communication in the back.
Duncan.
Nice wraparound pass to get out of that double.
Spreading the floor, Burrell tried to penetrate, 9 to shoot. Fadeaway jumper, and it's rebounded by Batista. Big body.
He sure, and he uses it well too.
Rivio trying to force the action on Wolf. Step in by Dolman. And Gonzaga maintains. Here's Morrison. Cage draws the assignment, fires a pass inside, and Mallon able to bank it in.
Terrific recognition by Morrison to release the ball, and Mallon that time, I'm not so sure he was really expecting it to come that quickly over the top.
Out on the perimeter, Burrell. 9-5 Bulldogs. Dolman trying to fend off Earl Knight, who's checked into the game. Knight, a defensive specialist, the senior from Seattle. Shot clock is down to 8. Burrell takes a peek. Have to work quickly here. Cage fires. A 3 doesn't go. And Batista with the board took a shot from Dolman.
Yeah, he took a shot right across the side, left side with that. Dolman came in a little late on that rebound. Mallon wide open. Let's see if they look for him.
And Knight goes down as there was some movement and a foul called. It'll work against Xavier as we'll step aside. Adam Morrison getting involved early, knocking down 1 out of 2 so far.
Back in for UCLA. Herndon from Nashville, returning home to play at Belmont. And misses both. Hollins clears.
Well, one thing you've got to be impressed with this UCLA team, the sophomore guards, Aaron Aflalo, Jordan Farmar, Darren Collison, all of them were big-time winners in high school, especially Farmar. He went to Taft High School. They were the first Valley team to win an LA City title since Gail Goodrich did it. San Fernando Valley team. Taft High School in Woodland Hills, for those of you familiar with the Valley. A reminder to go inside the secret world of special forces, soldiers working undercover. The Unit, TV's #1 new drama, Tuesday after NCIS, right here on CBS. Baumute looking for his 12th point. The foul was on Justin Hare, his second. While Baumute is a prince in Cameroon, his countryman, a fellow freshman, Alfred Aboya, he said he wants to be president of his country in Cameroon. Said, I'm not saying that just to amuse you. I really would like to run the country. And when you think about some of the foreign students that have attended schools on the West Coast, UCLA, California, they have gone back to their home countries and been big leaders. Heck, Arnold Schwarzenegger's governor of California. Why not think big?
In more ways than one.
Look at the job by Bozeman. Solid defensively.
And the battle for the rebound again goes to UCLA, and the Bruins continue to pour it on. And a foul away from the ball, and that could be on Hare. If so, it'd be his third. It is.
Number 24, Justin Hare.
What the opponent does well, and then really clamp down and pull away. They had a 12-point lead at the half. They've already added another 6 points to that cushion.
You saw that graphic. UCLA is shooting 58% from the floor. They're owning the points in the paint. They're doing everything well after that initial falling behind.
They're a very solid team in every way. Ben Holland getting contributions from everybody that he plays.
Meanwhile, in Greensboro, UNC Wilmington and George Washington.
GW is a team that likes to turn you over. They play pressure defense to force turnovers. Everybody can dribble, penetrate, shoot the three, and when they get that high-octane offense going, they can put up points in a hurry.
Best sign for GW is that Pops Mensah looks pretty healthy. He started the game. He's been dunking underneath, doing his thing, but their junior guard, Danilo Pinnick, picked up his 3rd foul at the 12-minute mark. That puts him a little behind the 8 ball.
Mensah has 6 points so far, and it's a 15-12 game. Meanwhile, in Xavier Gonzaga out in Salt Lake. It's the Gonzaga team leading by a score of 11-8, and Adam Morrison has been doing his thing, not necessarily shooting, but passing the ball all over the place.
Well, he's a guy that you have to pay attention to because he's the nation's leading scorer, so he takes advantage of that extra attention to find his teammates. Xavier started this game shooting poorly, but they're one of the better defensive teams in the country, and as a result, I think they'll be able to hang around in this one.
Yeah, everyone knows about Morrison, Greg, but Gonzaga's got some pretty good other players, and I'd like to see their point guard, Derek Rivio, get some scoring and be involved in this game.
All right, Seth, 15-19 to play in the first half, 11-8 Gonzaga. We'll keep track for you. Let's get you back to Jacksonville and rejoin Tim, Mike, and Steven.
Anthony Bruin inside makes the bucket. Iona's lead is 4. Not quite halfway through the opening half here in Jacksonville, Florida. The Gales have looked good early. We've had 3 lead changes. And Iona now has gotten their largest lead of the night. Darnell Lazar has come back in for Glenn Davis, but not for long. Davis will check in on the next dead ball, the SEC Player of the Year. Temple for Tyrus Thomas, who goes reversal. And it's obvious the few opportunities that he's had, there's some rust in his game offensively.
And he's not going up without hesitation, and that's what's been the problem, because these guys here, McCullough and Burt, in the paint, have their hands active all the time.
Burt over Temple. There's Bruin on the offensive glass. Lazar tied him up. And the possession arrow is to LSU.
You look inside, and the little pump fake against Waxman. Should have gone up probably on that one side. Instead, got a little too cute with it.
Tyrus Thomas sits down. And Lazar and Big Baby Davis now on that Tigers front line along with Tasman Mitchell. What you'll notice for LSU is they will allow Daryl Mitchell more of a natural 2-guard to play the point, but at times Temple will move to the point. There's Davis. He's rejected by Bruin.
And Mike, that's an illustration of what we've talked about with Big Baby not playing above the rim. Yep. And if you got an athletic interior man like Bruin, he can bother his shot.
There's another rejection by Bruin again.
Another one, and it's the second guy in.
Davis stays with it and is fouled. One thing about Davis, and you made mention of this the other day, Mike, when we had the Kentucky game in late February, you've never seen a player this good that plays under the rim at this position.
Well, that's what Steve was just alluding to, and you know, it's a little odd that you expect him to be explosive and get dunks in plays, but he really just kind of carves out real estate for himself inside and finishes like a guy like Wes Unseld might have played years ago. And but you know, it is unusual, but he has been very effective. He's the SEC Player of the Year.
His feet and his ability to face you and beat you off the dribble. That's the thing. And he's 30 pounds lighter than he was a year ago, Mike, when you and I saw him in Boise.
And I think he can still go some more. I think he's still got weight to lose.
He'd like to get down to 285, 290, and conventional wisdom is that the SEC Player of the Year will return next season. Burt leaves it for Waxman. Rejected by Davis. Big Baby with that deflection.
If you're Iona, Waxman has got to finish that shot. They have a small margin for error here against the Tigers, and beautiful penetration by Burt.
Lazar, what a nice feed from Daryl Mitchell.
And you know what? I think Iona was so concerned with Thomas and Davis that they've forgotten about Lazar. He's been their most effective post option.
What I like about Lazar, Mike, he's got an engine. He's got some fire in his belly. He comes out here, he's playing hard each and every time.
Soliver off the back iron. Bruin coming away with that rebound, and then the Garrett Temple reaching in picks up the foul.
You know, see, this point well taken about, you know, with Waxman and finishing those opportunities. I'd like to see him more in the framework of, you know, make Big Baby Davis get out on the floor, defend some pick and rolls, you know, and especially with shooters. If he's not going to move his feet, you know, they're going to get open looks, or he's going to get some things rolling.
Real Waxman was outstanding in his conference. There's Soliver on the cut. Misses a chippy. Davis comes down with it. Waxman had more double-doubles this year in the Metro Atlantic Athletic than any player except one. Davis, now that's what he can do. And once he gets that free-flowing game going of his, he can find a real rhythm.
Well, it's so difficult to stop a man that size that can put it on the deck and move a little bit to create space.
All the Big Baby because of relationship with his family, his mom. Cross the pass, nice play by Soliver to save that. Shot clock under 10. That's the right guy to have it, Steve Bird. He's a scoring machine. Helmet and a foul against Temple. Well, John Brady asking for the travel, but you knew right away with the clock winding down. Once it got into number 15's hands, he knew right where to go. Timeout here in Jacksonville.
Yes, he was named after the athlete. Mike Hall, he's at a long-distance three already tonight.
With Pops Mensah-Bonsu out of the game, George Washington electing to go with a little bit quicker lineup. Regis Kunja, Mike Hall, and Omar Williams, the front line.
And here's Carl Elliott on the drive. And it's out of bounds. 8:45 to play here in the first. And Southern getting ready to take on Duke. And some of those players are inside the Greensboro Coliseum. Other games you'll see coming up. A&M against Syracuse, San Diego State, Indiana, Utah State against the Huskies.
And one of the interesting things to watch as this game develops is the way Carl Hobbs is using Pops Mensah-Bonsu, getting him in and out. A couple of minutes and then back in the game. And Law, nice move, but he walks.
And Mensah-Bonsu is guarding him.
Absolutely. Mensah-Bonsu really changes the game. When he is in there, you've got to think when you get down inside, you've got to get the pump fake. And as Law did the pump fake, he shuffled his feet.
Carl Elliott from Brooklyn, New York. He goes off to Hall, who's from Chicago. Into Wyrick. Elliott for three.
Boy, George Washington lighting it up from beyond the three-point arc. The word on them is you want to try to make them shoot the three as opposed to attacking the basket. But that strategy, you better throw that out the window tonight. They're really hot from out there.
That's a nice shot.
Like Carter's game right there. The pump fake steps inside the line.
Carter's had a nice second half of the season surge for Wilmington. That's the rebounding story you see. Mensah-Bonsu rejected inside by Koulianen. And picked up by Goldsberry. And inside to Law. And Mensah-Bonsu. How about that?
Look who runs down the court and swats the thing away.
Very impressive. To think in late February he had knee surgery. Now he's back. And getting rejected right there, but racing to the other end with some defense for GW.
Better than we do. We trust his instincts. And when Adam has to come out and deal with it, we make the move.
Right, and he deals with it. He knows, as you just touched on, who better than Adam Morrison to know and recognize when it's time to make an adjustment with his body. But it was pretty noticeable how he was kind of lumbering back on defense the one time about a minute before he went out.
Brandon Cole hitting 1 out of 2 free throws. So Morrison getting a breather in a 5-point game. Fargo is the freshman from Chicago, or Chicago, whichever you choose.
I'm writing that one down.
Pendergraft, and it rims out. Fight for it underneath. Larry Gerganius had checked into the game for the first time, and it goes out of bounds. Tuesday on The Amazing Race, get behind the wheel with the teams as they speed around a world-famous test track. That's Tuesday on CBS, America's #1 network. Fargo, younger brother of Chicago Bulls guard Gennaro Fargo. big-time recruit for Gonzaga. Here's Batista. Soft touch doesn't go. Long rebound leaks out to Xavier. And Gonzaga able to get back defensively. Gerdanius, though, the step in and the steal.
Yeah, Duncan put that on the floor. It was a lazy bounce pass. Not at this level of play.
Rivio. One dribble and a jumper. Rebound. Pendergraft fighting. And he draws the foul. So off the board so far, Xavier has held its own. But an offensive board for Pendergraft will lead to 2 free throws. And a timeout. 10:51 to play here in the first half. We'll come back to Salt Lake City in a moment.
Bank robbery, hostage situation. Till I talk to them, they get nothing, not even a cup of coffee. On March 24th. One jumbo jet with full gas tank and pilots. Whoever heard of bank robbers escaping on the planes? It does not add up.
Never judge a crime
There are matters here that are a little bit above your pay grade.
by its cover.
This thing stinks to high hell.
Denzel Washington, Clive Owen, and Jodie Foster.
They heard everything we said. They bugged us. Keep your men back.
Inside Man.
This ain't no bank robbery.
Rated R. Starts March 24th.
The 265 horsepower Nissan Maxima.
Take, he's got it.
Yes! Yes!
Hey, let's order a pizza. Make it a thin crust.
You got it.
Hello?
Yeah, we'd like a large thin crust pizza.
Ralph?
Exactly. And you know what? Make it the way I like it. Loaded with mozzarella and toppings.
You know I hate when you do this.
Wonderful. And another thing, make it snappy because we're starving, right, boys?
Ralph.
Chop, chop.
For fresh baked pizza today, it's not delivery, it's DiGiorno.
Hey, great pizza, Ralph. Who delivered?
That'd be me.
You're a changed man.
How's that?
You got off that train back there, you did 2 things you never done before. At least not at the same time. You shook my hand. Then you looked me square in the eye. Where'd that come from?
Hi. We're here for the Taste Revolution.
Great. Excellent. Let's put you right there. Come along. Excellent. Excellent.
A Taste Revolution. To bounce the ball off of Carl Elliott of George Washington, and it goes out of bounds. 6:21 to play here in the first half.
That was a nice effort by Law, but it was almost in slow motion. Elliott saw it coming and simply stepped to one side.
Colonials, their best season in the 92-year history of their basketball program.
And another three-point basket. That's 6 for 9 from three-point range thus far for George Washington.
Hall has 6. Both his baskets have been threes. Elliott guarding Carter. And looking for Law, deflected out of bounds in 21 seconds on the shot clock.
Good adjustment by George Washington. Earlier in the game, UNC Wilmington was able to get that penetration and dump it off to somebody inside. That time, better rotation in the man-to-man defense by the Colonials.
Here's Wyrick in Cincinnati, Ohio. Goldsberry a 3. And a big-time one at that.
And that was a nice job. He just found himself open and a very quick release because GW was closing in.
The dive inside is good by Elliott. Goldsberry the other way, looking for Law. Mensah-Bonsu is there. Goldsberry thinking about 3, launches the 3, and put back up and in. Nice play by Wyrick, who now has 7 points for Wilmington. That brings again the Seahawks to within 2. Elliott for 3. Picked up by Law.
You know, you got to be careful. You make 6 of your first 9 threes. You start thinking maybe the 3 is the shot, but lots of times, particularly a team like George Washington, they only score about 23% of their points from beyond the arc. You don't want to start settling for that shot.
Here's a 3 by Law, and that's in. And Wilmington has captured the lead. They've led by as many as 3, and Wilmington has trailed by as many as 5 in a first half, which has had 5 ties and 5 lead changes.
Don't want to forget about Pops inside.
Rice with the miss, and Wyrick racing the other way for the Seahawks. Kulianen. And out of bounds. Some very nice scoring for Wilmington over the last couple possessions.
Well, last 3 possessions, Goldsberry does a great job being ready to shoot when he catches that ball. Wyrick running the floor. And then Goldsberry draws the defense and finds Law at the top of the key. So Wilmington 8 really quick points to take the lead in the game. George Washington again, I think they got to make sure they're not settling for that outside shot. Get some penetration of that defense.
Gunjan with the miss, picked up by Kulianen.
Elliott showed you a couple of possessions ago the ability to drive down the lane. I think they have to make UNC Wilmington defend that drive to the basket.
Goldsberry is the all-time assist leader at Wilmington. Here's a 3 by Wyrick. Kulianen thought he had it. Yanked away from him by Michael. And ahead it goes to Rice. With a great move and a Carl Elliott assist. What a play. And now he'll go to the free throw line with the foul going on Carter for a first time. Great speed, precision passing, and George Washington's on top by 1.
A very active Iona defense. And a defense that's changed many times through the course of the game. Davis rushed that one.
Well, I mean, what they're doing is they're getting LSU spread out, and Davis hasn't had many catches in the paint. He's been farther away from the basket. I think that Jeff Ruin will live with him shooting jump shots in this game.
I agree with you, and Soliver and company are doing a good job of digging in from the guard position.
Casman Mitchell coming away with a loose ball, but the deflection gets right back to Bruin.
You know, Timmy, you made a point before we went off to the commercial last time about how John Brady was livid. I think 3/4 of that is directed to his own team. Maybe a quarter of it to the officiating. But he is not happy with what his troops are doing right now.
Burt. Oh, a nice scoop to the hoop by Stevie Burt.
Burt is really showing us his plethora of moves. With the hesitation, stutter step in the paint to freeze the defense. Then the slice through with the nice left off the glass.
They've got to commit a second guy to him and just try to take the ball out of his hands.
Roll at the top. And that is, as they say in Louisiana, lanyap. A little gravy when he comes in off the bench and comes away with a bucket.
You said Magnum getting his roll on, huh?
27-25. Iona by 2. Soliver runner. Soft off the window. Will they count it? Foul does go against him. I believe they're waving it off. No, they are going to give that bucket. Well, Steve Burt has been a major factor already in this game. 15 points for the senior from Rice in New York City.
Since December. Right. And you wonder in a tight game against an opponent that right now is on a roll, how Gonzaga will fare. Coming up, singular at the half. Greg Gumbel, Clark Kellogg, Seth Davis will take you out for a live look at all the action going on in the tournament. Get you caught up on all the latest tournament news, plus a singular Naismith update. Singular at the half. Rivio comes up with it and lays it in.
Nice job there by Knight. Mark Few now changes the defense for the second time to go to a 1-2-2 looking for traps. And this is where Knight is very good defensively.
Dolman gives it up. Xavier 22, Gonzaga 21, under 8 minutes to go. First half.
And they slide back into it. What looks like a 2-3, but has the makings of a matchup. There's a double team strongly in the corner. And a timeout.
Now Cage recognizing he was in some trouble. takes the timeout with 7:40 left. First half. It's Xavier out in front by 1.
Rather than the drive, and George Washington is certainly making them pay for that strategy now.
Got to pick your poison. Goldsberry is in. Wyrick is in the contest. Soebo is coming. He's got the ball right now. Law is down low.
Boy, Omar Williams really doing a good job keeping the ball away.
The drive inside, Law with the charge. That's his second foul.
See, I don't really know how much mileage UNC Wilmington is going to get driving the ball all the way from the wing, trying to get it all the way to the goal against George Washington. They help too well on defense. They're too quick. Draw the defense, jump stop, pitch it to an open man. We saw that a couple of possessions ago, and UNC Wilmington was able to make a couple of threes.
Taylor Lay has come in for Mitch Law. For Wilmington. Hall's in the game. Rice with the 3. Look at Carl Elliott fly inside, and Williams trying to tap in the miss. Again they try.
I think Regis Kunja committed a foul over the back right there. And this is a heck of an offensive rebounding sequence. Carl Elliott is the first guy to get it, and then sometimes once that ball gets up on the rim, it's almost impossible to keep those guys blocked out.
So we go to the free throw line, and Taylor Lay is up there. He's a senior from Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. A transfer from the University of Denver. Senior, 6'7", only averages 3 points a game.
But a 73% free throw shooter. He's a guy that comes in late in the first half. They're looking for him for some defense and rebounding. And at 73%, they'd like him to knock down some free throws.
Which he promptly does. Yes.
You know, always good when you win the game to do something that the coach feels is a success. That way you get to go back in the game.
What's interesting about this Wilmington team, no players in the top 10 of conference scorers or rebounders, which shows you the breadth of their lineup and how many players they use.
Well, they use a lot of guys that get contributions from a lot of guys. And they play very solidly on the defensive end of the court.
It's out of bounds.
60-28 lead. We'll keep you updated. Let's get you back to Jacksonville. Tim, Mike, and Steven.
31-27, Iona by 4, matching their largest lead. LSU unable to get Glenn Davis on track. He has struggled from the floor so far in tonight's game. 1 for 7. That's a tie ball. Good defensive work by Davis. And coming up on Singular at the half, Greg Gumbel, Clark Kellogg, and Seth Davis will take you out for a live look at all of the action going on in the NCAA tournament, and they will get you caught up on all of the latest tournament news, plus Singular Naismith Watch Update, all coming up on Singular at the half. I think Seth is batting a pretty good average today on some of his pregame predictions.
Seth getting busy over there, huh?
Oh, absolutely. Forcing Kellogg on his heels.
up to this point, I tell you, Iona's done a terrific job. They have gotten LSU completely out of rhythm offensively.
Mitchell shielding and getting in the way of Burt, and Burt wound up pushing him, and that's one of those giveaway fouls that Stephen Burt would love to have back. A second foul against him that could be big late in this game.
Yeah, you know what? You've just got to be smarter than that and let that go and accept the turnover and go down the other end.
And even if Mitchell comes up with it, he's not going to hurt you from that place on the floor.
No, and unfortunate. Burt's got 2 fouls now, and you know you can go into halftime with 1 foul and still be very aggressive, but going in with 2, you have to watch yourself in the first 5 minutes.
Tuesday on CBS, see why the Unit has become TV's #1 news show. Don't miss a new episode Tuesday after NCIS on CBS, America's #1 network. The man known as the silent assassin, Daryl Mitchell, at the free throw line for LSU, was given that nickname by John Brady as coach. As you see Garrett Temple sitting down and been booed returning to the lineup for LSU.
He's the only senior on this team, so everything being equal, they've got a lot of talent and will be a very highly ranked team preseason next year.
He's the guy that really had to get the wagon train to get to campus. He had to travel all of 50 miles to get to LSU.
Hey, John Brady, he's got a gas credit card to recruit. That's all he needs. New set of tires every year.
Yeah. Watchman rejected by Tyrus Thomas. That's the first of many. He leads the conference in block shots and has just been, that may be his debut in his own mind back to college basketball after this 4-game respite.
Well, you need a play to gain confidence in your injury, and maybe that was the thing that got him off.
Yeah, Davis commits the foul against Burt, coming over to help.
On that last block, though, I tell you what, most people need an apparatus to get as high as Thomas did. Just showing you his athleticism. And Mike, he's not really even 100%. You expect to get a layup block, but a mid-range jump shot, not often that's erased, and nobody even argued about the call. Yep.
Now you look at our game tracks up at the top of your screen, continuous scores from all of the other regions in the NCAA tournament. The game's currently underway. North Carolina, Wilmington giving GW all they want. Some were critical of GW's non-conference schedule. Maybe that's one of the reasons why they wound up in an 8-9 game.
A couple of testers in their non-conference, but after that really didn't see much. I mean, they could say the same thing about Memphis as well, but UNC Wilmington representing the Colonial Association very well.
And GW getting the honor of an 8th seed and having to play Wilmington in North Carolina, so almost a home game for Wilmington.
Look at those hands on Davis in traffic, able to corral that. That is just a thing of beauty. There's Tyrus Thomas on the offensive boards. And the foul spotted inside, and Jeff Rulin cannot believe it. I believe Kenny Jackson may have picked it up, number 34. Jeff Rulin is beside himself.
Well, I thought the Gales did a fine job of staying vertical defensively underneath the basket. No, they can't elevate with Thomas or bang with Davis, so looked like they stayed straight up, Mike. I didn't see the contact.
Yeah, and you know what, but it's you look at it too, and from a standpoint, it was a great catch by Davis, but at the end of the day, he's still 1 for 8 from the floor.
But that is really one of the attributes he has in his game, his hands.
Here's the play inside, and he looked like he just kind of reached. He got that left hand down, and as soon as you bring those down from vertical, more times than not, you're going to get a call.
You got a few fouls down there, didn't you, in your time?
What's that?
You got a few fouls down there in your time. Some you deserved and some you didn't. McCullough rejected but fouled by Thomas. I sense some anger and angst, at the very least, coming from both benches right now as we get close to the break. John Brady letting Bernard Clinton hear about it now.
Well, this is a unique game in that every possession in the last 3 minutes has elevated the intensity in the building. We've had some bang-bang plays that could have gone either way, and both teams seem to be a little disgusted right now with the breaks they're receiving.
Now, the moment we got this assignment, Mike, you and I spoke, and I really thought this was going to be a quality matchup, and it has been. In every respect, this game has just been a tug of war.
Well, and I think, frankly, that John Brady feels some pressure in this game because he's lost in the first round of the last 3 years, and whether it's the NCAA or the NIT. And I think in order to validate that regular season title, not that it's not a great accomplishment on its own, but they need to advance in this tournament, and they find themselves square in the middle of a ball game.
Like it or not, every coach in America now is evaluated on the basis of what they do in March, and we mean in mid-March. McCullough, the pick and the deuce.
Boy, Boone would be better suited to keep it out of his hands as much as possible. He is really shaky against this pressure.
There's a slam. Tyrus Thomas gets his first.
Boy, did Iona just pick it up when he came in the game?
A steal by Davis. Out of bounds. Timeout taken by Iona. with 0.8 of a second remaining in the opening half. Iona gets the steal. We'll have time for a catch and shoot when we come back.
It's an entirely different class of Mercedes-Benz, the R-Class Grand Sports Tourer. More headroom for you, more elbow room for her, more space for him, more luxury, more comfort for them, and them, and them. The R-Class, more of everything to make more people happy. What more could you want? See your local authorized Mercedes-Benz dealer for a special lease offer through Mercedes-Benz Financial. Value unlike any other. Visit your local authorized Mercedes-Benz dealer today.
Iona leads it by 4, and fellas, I don't think Jeff Ruland could have written a script any better.
Well, especially with Big Baby 1 for 8. Only 5 points here in the first half, and his Gales really humming on the offensive end.
And I love the body language for Iona. You know, not that they weren't confident coming in, but this first 20 minutes really sets up the rest of the game for them.
Recognition of the kind of defense you need on a catch and shoot. It's going to be a lob, and we've got a foul off the inbounds. The last thing John Brady wanted to see.
I think it was on Food.
Wow. What a mistake. A freebie with 0.8 of a second, and Anthony Bruin gets to the free throw line.
Sure, Ben Vood wishes he could go back to the hotel room, take a nap, and come back and do it again. Really struggled here in the first half.
But with all the things you go through your freshman year that are new, this is the last and maybe most intimidating to get in that first round of the NCAA tournament.
The lead is 5 at the break, 37-32, and we'll send you to Greg Gumbel with Singular at the half. Right after these messages, you're watching CBS Sports on our 25th road to the Final Four.
Valentine and Hampton chatting about it along the baseline. And Xavier's going to hold on to it after the timeout. Adam Morrison trying to get going here. Late stages, first half. His team is down.
And that whole allow less than 60 points has been one of the many themes. No basket, didn't go in anyway, but the foul before the shot. Gives us a chance to look at the Minneapolis region and surprising Montana. And Boston College had to go 2 overtimes before dismissing Pacific.
Well, Pacific, a really good basketball team. Christian Mariker, 6'10", one of the best big guys in America.
How about the other side in Jacksonville? University of Wisconsin, Milwaukee. Remember last year, Bruce Pearl, now coaching at Tennessee, took them through a couple of wins, and Florida won impressively as well.
And now at Wisconsin, Milwaukee, the head coach is named Rob Jeter, was an assistant at Wisconsin. Came in, brought a new system, but the same result as far as winning's concerned. Joe Tucker, their best player. Boo Davis, an outstanding player as well. And Adrian Tigert can really pass the ball. That's a senior-dominated team that has been there before.
And you can't underestimate just that. Senior veterans on a tournament team. Collison hits a pair. He has 8 in the game.
You know, Dick, when you talk about seniors, I think that's where a lot of these mid-major programs have a little bit of an advantage, if you will, because they keep their seniors around for longer. They may go in cycles more than the big shots do. But I'll tell you what, when they keep their teams together, they can win games against just about anybody.
Matthew Dotson, a walk-on freshman, has his first points for Belmont.
CBS Sports presents Singular at the Half, sponsored by Singular, raising the bar.
Welcome back to our New York studios for Singular at the Half, everyone. I'm Greg Gumbel, along with Clark Kellogg and Seth Davis. The games in Greensboro and Jacksonville, both at halftime in Greensboro, Seth. Nice offensive display going on there.
I mean, UNC Wilmington making 58% from the floor. John Goldsberry's been terrific. More importantly, only 6 turnovers against that GW pressure.
And in Jacksonville, do we stand up and cheer yet for Iona?
Yeah, they've been terrific. Their speed has been a problem at both ends of the floor. Points off turnovers, points in the paint, and doing a nice job defending Glenn Davis inside.
All right. Meanwhile, other action taking place. Xavier and Gonzaga in Salt Lake City. Ian Eagle and Jim Spanarkel are there.
33-29, Xavier X marks the spot right now for the Musketeers. 3:55 to play. First half. Last touch by Batista, so Xavier will toss it in. Adam Morrison, 12 points. He's the high man so far. But they've done a very good job defensively, as Jim pointed out, making him work for not only his points, but for his field goal attempts. Kick out, Burrell.
I like the way Burrell puts it on the floor once he gets it outside, too. See him attack it, there he goes again.
Flicks a pass over to Cage. Morrison there defensively, 10 to shoot. Cross court. Burrell, shot clock down to 7. Ball movement, Duncan.
Great ball movement. Somebody's got to shoot eventually, though.
They do, and it's Raymond. Knocked outside, Rivio is running. Right down the middle, and he puts it upstairs for Batista.
Boy, he put it upstairs and just on the right spot, too, because I think it was Burrell who was underneath Batista running the whole way there.
And Xavier's lead is down to 2, a 7-0 run for Gonzaga. Under 3 minutes to go, first half.
Mark Few on the sidelines, encouraging his team to pick up the defensive effort.
Rivio called for the hold on Burrell.
Watch this little floater pass at the end of this play, but watch how difficult it is to catch, because look at Burrell's right underneath him. Good concentration level, though, for Batista coming down the floor.
And Rivio made that pass with his offhand and put it exactly where it had to be for Batista. 19 fouls against Gonzaga. So Burrell at the free throw line, 76% shooter. Xavier up by 3. This is the Oakland bracket. Winner here will meet the survivor of Indiana San Diego State coming up here in Salt Lake City. 10 points now for Burrell, 35-31 Musketeers.
Here comes Morrison off a couple of delayed screens on the left side. Very infrequently does he stop moving.
Rivio looking for the screen, and an air ball. Loose ball foul called. Cage was operating along that baseline.
Now I think if you're Xavier, you have to get him out of this game.
And it is his second personal foul with 2:34 left on the clock.
It's a good move here by Sean Miller. Get him off the floor. The most important stat on the stat sheet at halftime would be whether he has 2 or 3 fouls. By sitting him down, you can get him back psychologically ready to go for the second half against Morrison.
1-1. Second free throw coming. Tonight on The Late Show, Dave's got Charles Barkley, plus a special top 10 with speed skating gold medalist Chad Hedrick. That's tonight, The Late Show with David Letterman. And it rims out on the second attempt. It's a 3-point differential. Morrison now 13 points to lead Gonzaga. Way outside, Cole. Burrell coming to the ball with 16 to shoot. Matched up with Morrison using the screen. Now a double from Batista. 10 on the timer, the freshman Wolf. Burrell on a crossover. Kick out. Shot clock winding down. Wolf with a dipsy-do.
Boy, a little bit of an extra extension there by Wolf.
Johnny Wolf, the bucket.
And it appears that every time they get the Morrison one-on-one defensively, they keep attacking him.
There's Morrison, fade away. That is smooth.
And he'll take advantage of the fact that Cage is on the bench and try to shoot over people.
37-34, Morrison now with 15. Spin move by Duncan and the scrape from Pendergraft.
Well, here comes the step, and watch the extra extension. Little swing from right to left there to give yourself a little bit more momentum, and Wolf finishes it off.
Third foul on David Pendergraft. Wolf is a freshman from Cincinnati, St. Xavier High School. His dad, Marty, a 1979 grad of Xavier, basketball and tennis player. Pendergraft to the bench. 3 personal fouls.